Yeah, they might be reporting you.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah. I was going to say that, and then I was saying, nah, just,
because everybody is saying the same thing, and that's usually what happens when somebody starts reporting you, trying to get you shut down.
Mm-hmm. Are they what they call it? The trying to do the shadow box.
Shadow, yeah, shadow, yeah, whatever that is. Yep.
Yeah. Well, nothing improper and nothing wrong has been said for that to, be the case. Why? What is that about us? Why do we do these knee-jerk reactions and post stuff, and then when it gets picked up, she says what there is blinking.
Yeah, it's just blinking. It's just blinking because I think they're trying to report it.
Mm. Well, I mean, you posted it.
You posted it, and you know what? I even had to learn. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. You have to stop and you have to think about your actions. If he's been doing something that got him where he's at today, he's done this all before, then perhaps you're moving a little too fast. And going to another church, trust me, it's not going to fix the situation.
Going to another church, going to another region or another part of the country, and still trying to and have unresolved issues within yourself, they are continuing to arise. They're continuing to raise their head.
Right.
And these church guys that have these issues around sex and sexuality, they need to go on and stop it and stop getting and using these girls with low self-esteem, insecurity issues, wanting to be married, wanting to be some kind of celebrity or whatever it is. And now you doing that because you're trying to live up to the expectations of family.
Yeah.
You're trying to live up to the expectations of church. You're trying to live up to, you're making yourself miserable and uncomfortable trying to live up to somebody else's ideal, and unfortunately, I think that, that is some of what's going on here.
It is. And he's going to find himself continuing the same cycle. He really is. And that church money, he needs to figure something else out.
Well, now he's a real good graphic designer.
Maybe
so
that's
one of the things that he's kind of been able to, and then I was kind of perusing his page. I don't know. I'm just gonna go on and say it. They can report it. They can shadow box it and what have you. Why do we want to create these damn lies,
right?
And these scenarios that ain't real.
Yeah.
And you went and said on one of his posts, he said, went from tens and thousands of dollars. Okay, well, when? If you was doing tens and thousands of dollars, then why did things didn't work out with that building or when you had launched your church? Because I thought, I was following them and following some of his services. I was like, oh, okay, well, he might be really onto something.
Right.
And then you start lying on God.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you have, if it ain't but 5 or 10 people, you have people that's caught up, you know, that was following you, that was supporting you, and then you shut down and you go to another region again, you know, or you go to another area again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I don't know. So, I mean, we had the discussion today, and I was just like, you know,
but
and that's the thing with me, man. That's the thing. I know the foundational history on so much and so many people. That's why a lot of times they don't want to interview with me. They don't want to talk to me because I know fact from the fiction. Jimmy was never going to do an interview with me. He went and did that interview with somebody that didn't know nothing about church and was able to sit there and spin a whole scenario that was not that was not totally true or totally accurate.
I remember that.
At all.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know what I'm saying? Go on and say, when me and my ex broke up, I went off, I outed him, and I called his wife, and I called his wife daddy, and told them that we was together for 11 years.
That's what they do.
Anyway,
what they do.
I hope it has stopped. Has it?
It's still doing it, but keep on going. It's just a little bit. It's shadow banned.
Man, let me get into this. And let me get into this a little bit here. And this was something, and it's really a
you talking about the Kenyan?
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Okay, so obnoxious breaking news. I really wanted to talk about this yesterday, but then we got so overtaken with that other situation. LGBTQ rights activist Edwin Chiloba body was found stuffed in a metal box on the roadside in Kenya. Police in Kenya announced that Edwin's body was discovered on Wednesday, January the 4th. The body of Edwin was found on a roadside in Usan Gishuwa County in the west of in the western side of the county. Police say a motorcycle taxi operator reported seeing the box being dumped by a vehicle with no license plates. The rider reported the incident to police officers who were manning a nearby roadblock. Officers who opened the box found the decomposing body of a man whom they described as wearing women's clothes. The deceased was identified as Edwin Chiloba, and his body was taken to Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital to establish a cause of death. A police spokesperson said that the motive was not yet known. We don't know for now why he was killed that way. Experts handling the matter said he was a known LGBTQ activist. He was a fashion designer and model, and had in the past been attacked and assaulted for his activism. His friend tweeted in December on an Instagram post and said that his efforts were about inclusion. And if I'm going to fight what I've been marginalized for I'm going to fight for all marginalized people. The LGBTQ people living in Kenya have often described discrimination and attacks in the country where there's sex between men is illegal. Kenya is greatly conservative, and the president has in the past said that gay rights were a non-issue in East Africa. The post from the LGBTQ rights organization, the commission mourned his death, who was a fashion designer and a model, as a loved and valued member of the community who used the platforms available to him to fight what was right. The group said that the Lonesome Act was a major blow to the country's LGBTQIA community, and a calculus or the careless way that his body was discarded makes the situation all the more mortifying. And his killing served as a reminder that queer bodies continue to be under attack all over the country. So, what are you all's thoughts?
Is this
greetings, Bishop Parham?
I was wondering if this is the same guy I saw in a documentary on Netflix or somewhere. Have you seen that about the gays in somewhere in Africa who were? I wonder if he was one of them or the main character in there. I think it was him. I think so. But it's really a shame. It really is a shame.
I mean,
and
the thing that was so striking to me about this was that when one of the members of my street committee sent it to me, and it was so shocking that in 2023 you had this kind of thing still happening, and that because we get so caught up in America and with all these rights and privileges and opportunities that we have here, and that that kind of gets us sometimes in trouble when we start doing this international traveling. Just like now you got Meek Mill that did something and said some stuff that's to the culture in Ghana offensive. You can't just go to these other countries and assume that the same rights and the same privileges that we have over here in America is over there. And I mean, gosh, to still have and we still have it here. I mean, you still have the snarls, you still have the stares, you still have the looks, but for this young brother to have been killed and most likely killed by his own people because of his orientation, is just I mean, it's horrific.
Yeah.
It is. And then the unfortunate part about it is we're not. That's Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
That's Africa. That's not necessarily a country that got the benefit or the value add for us to in any kind of way really intervene.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To
that ain't gonna
send
happen.
Military aid, send support, send help. It's not gonna have that level of.
It ain't gonna happen.
No.
It's a shame. Yeah.
Oh, what is that? Do you see? I think somebody said something.
He said, don't be deceived. Everything ain't always as it seems. Sometimes it's your own people that will do you harm.
Yeah. I'm going to be... I'm going to get in trouble.
Go ahead.
But I'm going to go on and say this, because I think that some of the most mean and evil people, and especially since I've been in this industry, in this work, a church sissy is one of the most mean,
vindictive,
demonic, and evil individuals that you can ever, in any kind of way, encounter.
Yeah.
You all are not going to like that I'm saying that. You all, excuse me, are going to get mad. But you know, deep down in your heart, a church queen, a church sissy, and especially a DL, wanna be, know you perpetrating a fraud, know that you faking the phone,
the worst
know you with
ones.
a chick that you have in no kind of way any emotional attachment, like, desire. You are strictly with her because you want a chain. You're strictly with her because you want to excel. You go on and call it out for what it is. You want your cake, and you want to eat it too. You want to eat it too. Yeah. Some of the most horrific things that some of that Pepsi went down the wrong way. Some of the most horrific and horrible things that have ever been said, that have ever been posted, is by, instead of a community that should be acknowledging me, instead of a community that should be celebrating me, those are people that hate and do evil and malicious things to each other. Gay people, and that is probably one of the reasons that they still cannot come together. I mean, we look at it, okay, they're getting ready to have King Weekend, which they have made another
Pride
Weekend.
That's Pride Weekend, yeah.
And as soon as they converge on Atlanta for another week or two, we're going to see these clips with these out of control sissies that's brawling and fighting in the street. There was a guy at Bulldogs. They got mad about a parking space, and he took a bat. He took a bat and hit that man in the head. Oh, that community, when we were out protesting for George Floyd, I was on the front line with thugs and gangsters. They was having AR-15s and rifles. Yo, man, what's up? And you cool, and you out here with us. I was more celebrated, respected, and appreciated for my work and for my contribution from that kind of group than I have ever been.
So
Black, church, gay, undercover, whether they out or not, y'all are mean and you are evil,
mean and surly,
you are demonic, and you ain't got to like that I'm saying it, because you know deep down in your heart it is the truth. You got so much self-hatred.
Yeah.
And so many convoluted issues and problems with your mama and your daddy and the dysfunction. And so it has made you into a total and complete horrible person.
So what you're saying is, in other words, next weekend, when your pastor say they're going to Atlanta, they're not going to do a memory for Martin Luther King.
You know, just the whole, and we don't like to say the truth.
Right. Right.
You know, we do not like to
What's up,
say,
Robert? Is that Robert?
I believe so.
Yeah.
We don't like to say he got on the gold jacket. No, it ain't gold. We'll be looking at it. We'll be looking at it, and we live just like y'all got mad with Kim. Kim said it's a spirit of delusion and confusion.
Oh, please don't bring in Kim.
Oh, you know I love her. You know I love her because she gets the boys together. And
that's what we like.
Y'all don't like her, but she gets the boys together. I love her. Greetings, my brother. How are you?
Doing good. I'm glad to be here tonight. I just had to jump on because I'm a huge fan, not only of yours, but also the topic that we're talking about right now.
Yes, sir.
So the thing is, my perspective is you can't always sometimes you gotta look deeper in a situation. You gotta look deeper into the situation. Just because somebody puts some information out there, it's not always what it is when you don't know. You got to look deeper in the situation. And my perspective is, so it's not always, sometimes the media can give a narrative, but it's not always just like that. For example, what I'm trying to say is sometimes it's people within your own circle. We have watched the news and parents are on there crying, I don't know what happened to my child.
They know.
And come to find out this person has killed their child. Sometimes it's people within your own circle. So just because we know, as you travel abroad, if you have the opportunity to travel abroad, we know that America really is very liberal and we live a very free life. I can live an open life no matter what that is. But it's not always the case in other countries. We do know that. But just because someone was killed, that doesn't necessarily mean that was a narrative. Even the fact that they said that that he had on women's garments. So I follow him. This man is a fashionista, and if you look,
was he the same one on that documentary?
I'm not sure there was a documentary, but okay. I look at his like Instagram and all of that stuff. Yeah. This man was a fashionista, and he had a huge impact in the world of fashion as well as.
And see, they
he done froze.
They may have put those garments on him, mocking him.
Well, the thing is, I watched the video several times. I saw the actual video. This man had on a red pair of pants and a top that had some rhinestones that he probably sewed on it and some fringe on the sleeves. And when you read that he had on women's garments, you would think that he was in full-out drag, and that was not the case at all.
No.
So even an example like that,
let me ask you this, because are you all familiar with Spanky?
Yes,
he was, and I
the African the African
and
thing.
He was on the cover of GQ, South Africa,
right?
And then so when they were doing when Netflix was promoting rich and
famous,
Africa,
right?
Whatever that reality show.
Yeah.
So he was one of the people that that they were on the media campaign for us to meet. And now he never, and I certainly did not ask him, but it is understood. And so I was, and I mean, he wears full heels.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
purses.
Like he's Andre Leon Talley. and was extremely flamboyant.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to, you know, and the way that I was phrasing my questions was, you know, is Africa ready for that level
That's
of
so
fashion and that
that's right.
level
You have to put it in perspective of what he had on in the place that he was in. Even something like, you know, I love the fact, William, you are an individual. And that's something that we don't celebrate enough is individuality.
Right.
And but when you put if you went over to a country like Africa and you were found and no one knew who you were, they could probably say anything in the media just because of that's not their culture.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. This man was a fashionista. So, you know, we don't know what the case is. I pray that, and we do hope for the best, and we hope that this man gets justice. But my whole point is sometimes we do have to look deeper. Sometimes it's people in your own circle that will do you harm. It's not always us against them. Sometimes it's us against us.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because that's the thing that I think that community can be very, very mean and very evil.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say that the guy that does my hair, you know, we debate about my, you know, some of my he'll say some of my negative rhetoric about, you know, about the community, but I you know, I have to be truthful, and I have to articulate what my experience, what my life has, you know, has been. And I'm just gonna, I mean, I'm a church boy. That's all that I know. But I know, and maybe that's why I said the church queens and the church sisters, because maybe that's not the case for guys that are part of the LGBTQIA community that may not have the church element to their background.
Yeah.
Right.
But the ones sitting in them pews, the ones that's running down shouting and sucking dick and eating ass before they get
before and after service. Yeah.
Those are some of the meanest, most malicious SOBs that I have.
That's right. And we've all experienced it. We've all had that experience.
And I don't care who get mad and who don't like it. I'm going to call it out, and an ace a ace and a spade. Because it is the truth. I have a friend. Well, I can't say that because then they'll get mad. But I'm serious. And I don't know why they're jealous. They're mean. They will plot. They will come together to destroy. What was the guy's name? Oh God. He did amateur porn, and very nice guy. I would see him in church, and we would be sitting together. You know, we'd be sitting and what have you. We'd be over at Sunday night, and I had no idea. I promise you, I had no idea that he was the entertainer or whatever. And so, I mean, we would sit together. He was like, "Man, you can dress." He was like, every week. He said, "Well, I'll be coming for, you know, the service, but then I'll be wanting to see when Sir William got on." And we would just laugh and we would talk, and, you know, and what have you. I think one or two nights, you know, we went out to Landmark or whatever, and I had absolutely no idea. So it got to the point where church point. One of them all evil, malicious faggots, so, got upset because we had become visually friends and had a rapport. So they went to, at the time, y'all know I'm loquacious, so y'all bear with me. They went to, I want you to zip that thing back up. We ain't gonna be having it yet. We might have sent our apparel over here. We
coming out of his clothes.
You ain't gonna be showing no chest and no body over here, no body, yada, yada, yada. I want you to cover it all up. I need you to put a hood and a helmet on. But anyway, I'm just teasing. So, I mean, y'all, for real, I'm just being honest. It went to being a situation, and the situation got that the person that was saying and making these negative reports was actually jealous because they wanted to have that same interaction, and the idea that we could not have just been friends and that it had to have been, you know, something more to it was beyond their ability to process.
Yeah.
And so I had to tell, you know, my buddy that was the pastor, I was like, I had no idea. I was literally sitting in his office in shock when they started showing me, you know, the clips of his, you know, of his work. And you know what, with the one thing, and we still have some level of interaction now. The one thing that he said, you know, I was so appreciative that I never let him know, I never in any kind of way, you know, handled or dealt with him differently. The other guy, I don't know if y'all remember, it was, now I knew he was a porn. I can't even think of his government name. But anyway, he actually was a dancer. He was actually a dancer, and actually a quite good dancer. And he put out there that he had gotten picked up by a dance company or whatever. Do you know them queens hunted down and found what actual dance? He never went to New York, never had the opportunity.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Never had the opportunity. They actually, and I do not know why that is the case and why they fight and hurt each other.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Let me tell you, people are, they're just downright, people can be envious. And every single day in all of our prayers, we have to pray for protection, because there can be people, not, like I said, there can be people in your own circle. You have to be very careful.
Yeah.
People in your own circle that will kiss you, and they were one of the 12s that followed you.
Right.
They will kiss you and not stab you in the back. They'll be stabbing you in your liver.
Right in the front.
Right while they, and I have seen that more and more. And that, you know, I hate to be negative, but that's been my experience.
Yeah.
That is, and especially as a public person, you know, the level, and this is Atlanta. I live in Atlanta, where, you know, it's supposed to be inclusive it's supposed to be. It ain't.
Yeah.
It is not. That is a delusion and a false sense of reality that does not exist here. You walk through the mall, you walk through Lenox. It is not the straights. It is the kids that is snickering, that are evil, that are making comments. They slip and sneak and take pictures and do stuff. Oh yeah, you can't tell me nothing about it.
Yeah.
You can't tell me nothing about it. So I
Yeah, that's why you have to be careful, because people sometimes, especially in this day and time, you don't know where people's mental is, and people will do you harm. They will do you harm. So you have to pray for protection every day, every last one of us. And make sure that we also have a very keen eye of discernment, so we can see it before it even comes and get that out. Like I said, if even Jesus had Judas, well, you have to think about that. This was one of his own. And
that's
this
right.
was the man that set the crucifixion in action.
And he said he ate the body.
Absolutely.
This is my body that's broken. And he was there, and 3 days later.
Yeah.
He was plotting. He was plotting then. He was plotting then that night. That's why I ain't got no friends. I don't like nobody. That's what me and this one guy, we were talking about Kevin, and he said the good die young. He said, but your evil ass gonna live
forever. You know what? I had a friend I lost about a year ago. We were friends for over 20 years. And a whole lie destroyed our relationship. And they have been like the worst as to disseminating horrible things about me to the community. They have been the number one worst. And we were friends for over 20 years, best friends.
And see, they know all your stuff.
Yeah, and I know all theirs. And guess what? Guess what St. James did?
Well, see, you good.
I'm good.
Baby, I would have got a microphone.
Turn it up.
Yeah, I would say, come on, let's do battle, baby. See, I like to fight.
And
I ain't never, now, I may have hair and I may have nails, but baby, I'm a nigga from Oakland.
And you know what?
And I ain't never ran from no fight. And you ain't had a good ass whip until you had with Sir William.
East Oakland, huh?
I'm like Oprah Winfrey. All my life I had to
fight. And you know what?
Had to, but you know, but that is, I know how you feel. I had a good friend that I had a relationship with like that, and one of the first times that I was evicted, they were there, and they were assisting me, and it really wasn't. I mean, I was being evicted, but it wasn't like quite that bad, because I had to get out of that penthouse, because, you know, I've always, if I make 50 cents, I'm going to spend 500. And so I always
like America.
So I was just going down from the 27th floor to the 10th floor. And it wasn't no way. It was no way for anybody to have known that.
Right.
And that same person
that helped you move
to stay in my house, that they told everybody over at our church. And I told him, I said, I done lost more than you niggas have ever had. You know, so I get it, guys. But, you know, we're going to have to do Yeah, I think you're saying what you said, Chris, is true. We're gonna really need to do like a brothers or like a round table or some type of, you know,
well, if you would ever
podcast
get your
or
behind on YouTube, we can probably do something. I can tell
okay,
it.
I'm gonna do better. All right, I'm gonna do better. This is a new year. You just gotta, you just gotta work with me a little bit. I know
We'll
I'm an
get there.
old soul. Hell, my daddy is 86. Come on, give me a break.
Everybody, I want y'all to.
He didn't even know that he still had a swimmer. He didn't. You know what I mean? That was an accident. I'm gonna change a life, baby. So you know
about them pastors.
I'm gonna be kicking and screaming. You know, yeah, I'm gonna do better. But yeah, because we have got to be able to, you know, have these dialogues and these conversations because we complex. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We complex as brothers, period.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then when you start adding, you know, different elements, you know, to it, and it ain't just gotta be, you know, sexuality, but why we have commitment issues? Yeah. Why do we have issues?
There's so much more than sex and sexuality.
Yeah, and
so much more.
And just, you know, commitment, family, you know, a lot of us, you know, can't hold jobs. You know what I'm saying? We you know, we have, you know, trouble with instruction, you know, following protocols, and then a lot of us are angry.
Well, Robert, didn't mental health, Tish? But didn't you mention that while we were talking about DeAngelo?
Yeah.
See, there's a mental health issue that hasn't been tapped into.
I think it all comes from just trauma. That's pretty much it. I don't care. Usually mental health issues comes from some sort of unresolved trauma. And some of us just don't even know what it is, or even if you're dealing with sexuality, especially in the African American community, for men specifically, you know, that's something that you have to hide for a long time, and it's not celebrated again to be an individual. We're taught that if you are living some sort of life, you are going straight to hell. And for some people, they can't control that. And so you have issues like some of the other topics we were talking about. People start to live double lives. And one thing, as an actor, you can, at some point, you got to come off stage.
You do.
You have to come off stage and take a bow, and that curtain has to close. And that's when you start slipping and doing you. And it get caught up with you because you have been taught that who you are is not okay. No matter what journey, even though you may be on a journey, where you are as a child, people are telling their children this. Their children, and a child's mind is being developed that who you are is not right. That is not good enough.
You
cannot be celebrated.
You have got to conform and make yourself uncomfortable.
Yeah. So they can be
everybody else comfortable.
That's traumatic. That is a level of trauma.
That's trauma.
And I don't think a lot of times people don't understand or know that to be your most authentic self, it is a level of sacrifice.
Yeah.
And that you may never know. I'll be old, dead, and gone before people really will know and understand the level of contribution that I've made. They will not. And I've had to, Robert, really, you know, deal with and come to terms with that, and be okay. That, you know, they don't know what it means when I stand on one of those NBA floors. They don't know what it means when I walk in one of those in the Falcons locker room with my mic and all of this. You know you don't know, and I have to push. And sometimes be, shaking in my boots.
Yeah.
But I can't show no fear. I can't show no trepidation. I can't show any of that. And
but you know what, William?
Got to the point where, I couldn't conform. As much as I tried, as much as I wanted to, as much as I, it did not work for me.
But you know what? People are intimidated and jealous of tenacity, of boldness in people, of people being their authentic self. That's intimidating, and some people want to be there. So their reaction is to mock or to,
scorn and tease.
Scorn. That's the go-to. But deep down, they're saying, I can't believe how bold he is. I can't believe the level of what I'm not going to say ego, or the level of what's that word? You think highly of you think enough of yourself to just press forward.
Arrogant SOB, baby, and I know it. I know that. I know that's one thing I know about myself, and I'm able to. But a lot of them, and you're absolutely right. And in those private and secret and stolen moments, I will have people say, "Oh wow, I just wish," or "Oh wow, how do you do it?" Blah blah blah, whatever. And I'm just me. It did not work. I could not pretend. I couldn't pretend. I could not. And it doesn't even matter about I really, in my mind, I think I'm Prince or Michael Jackson.
That's right.
I really do. When I was a kid, I made my grandmother take me in that Rolls Royce to see Purple Rain. And she was like, I cannot believe that we had to stand in line. I was like, Big Mama, you got to take me. And the best way I could describe Big Mama, she was like Diane Carroll out of Dynasty. And she was in there. We had all kind of snacks and popcorn, and she fell in love with Prince, and she was a musician, and so the music was the first thing that really grabbed. And then she was like, "Oh my God, this boy is just like incredible." And he was. I remember when we had the curl, and I had my little my little curls that like Michael that dropped down in my face. I was just like, and in school with my Michael Jackson jackets, I had my Thriller jacket, the red and black one, and the beaded jacket that was the black leather. You couldn't tell.
That's right.
Could not. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. We are
and you ask yourself, what they tripping about now? They knew what you liked growing up.
But you know what? Why? I want to ask y'all guys, why is it
not
that
ginger beer,
the folks that
one up there?
are asking,
right?
Why are they the ones that are the biggest problem or issue?
Because they're living not for themselves, they're living for other people. and they're miserable.
Yeah, usually if you're having a problem with somebody for real, it's because there's something in you that I see in that other person. You see what I'm saying? And I'm calling that out. And you know, you have to and the flip side about being an individual and living your truth, it does come at a price. And that's a price that it comes at a price. And that's a price that everybody is not willing to pay. Because sometimes you have to walk alone, you have to be by yourself, everybody's not going to be with you, and those are things that people are not okay with. So they end up putting on a front, putting on an act, and at some point that, like I said, is traumatizing, and you become angry. Some people become suicidal. You start living double lives, you start being promiscuous. There's so many different ways and signs and symptoms of how this thing works out because people aren't willing to pay that price. There could be loss. You got people's families that will completely disown them. We know people that end up being homeless because they wanted to live in their truth. People have died because they wanted to live in their truth. And it's just horrible because we do, when you're talking about the love of Christ, and I know you have a huge church going followers, but you have to understand, like, Christ was there with amongst them. He was right there when the woman got caught right in the very act of adultery and they were getting ready to stone her. He said, let him without sin cast the first stone. And by the time that man rose up, those people had them put their stones down and walked off. Right there in the act of adultery. So, you know, we do have to start giving people a little bit more grace, because salvation does have to be worked out. I mean, it happens instantly spiritually, but as far as our lives and things that we've been taught and things that how we've been conditioned, those things take a little bit of patience, and people are on different journeys, and we all have to respect that.
And working out your salvation, as you said, it doesn't end at 18, 25, 30, 40. Some people don't get it until 50s and 60s.
It's still a continuous process.
That's right. That's
it's
right.
Still continuous.
And if you are still not loving your brother, you're still, marginalizing certain people.
Yeah.
You're not there yet. You're just not there yet.
Wow.
So even the brother that we were talking about earlier, my heart goes out. I don't know exactly the ins and outs, because I don't know him like that, but that we just continue to send up love and light towards that young man, and pray that he is on his path and on his journey to healing.
I think that's one of the I think that's some of the negative aspect and some of the damaging aspect, especially. And not just the Black church, but especially the Black Pentecostal church.
Yes.
Because we have so many, I could tell you, I could name 10 right now that are presenting, one scenario that is not who they really are.
Right.
And so their whole life has been wrapped around, being this and, this level of ideal. So, the very thing that blesses us is also a curse to us at the same time.
Yeah.
We have so many. That may even be one of the things with old crazy Earl.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. That could be. It could be. I've always said he's too dogmatic about it. He's too no one has that level of hatred. No one. It's like, how could you hate, and how could that be your main? And the funny thing about now, it's like on this oral sex thing. Everything is about a woman eating a woman out, secretions. I'm
See, I don't even know how.
It's
I don't even know how y'all can sit and listen to Earl.
Yeah.
Because I think Earl has had a nervous breakdown. Like, I really think.
He done lost his mind.
They sent me this clip, and Earl was saying how this was some years back. They sent me this clip, and this fool was saying we're not supposed to use the word MF.
Right.
You remember that?
Yes, because he talked about.
What he was saying was true, because when breeders, of slaves, they would have the slaves a lot of times.
And you was a mother,
mom, so that she could breed more strong and But I was just like, this fool is crazy.
But sometimes I find myself trapped in one of his videos because the fool can preach.
Now, I will give you.
But then he goes off.
Because he has had a complete and total nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
But Earl, in his day, he was one of the premier cogic evangelists.
Yes, he was. He was.
And he could. Now, I will tell you, that night in 2014, that he preached that night.
Yeah.
Now, some of his narrative and some of his examples.
That bleed in the butt stuff and all that. He didn't need that.
I told her, she was like, oh, she said, he's going too far. We need to get up. I said, girl, I said, I cannot walk out. I said, I got to take this whipping, and I got to sit in here, and I got to suffer through this. And just like when Patrick Wooten.
Oh, Wooten, Patrick, he went for it.
He whipped me. He whipped me that night in North Carolina.
And that's what I'm saying. And you sat right there.
Like a good soul.
You sat right there.
I took that whipping, baby. I took it for all the queens.
You was a sacrificial lamb. You was a sacrificial lamb.
I was. I can tell you, I know exactly the outfit that I had on. I can tell you, and I sat there and I went right through it. I clapped my hands, and Patrick is a good preacher. When you get past all of his, old school.
I don't know. Is that
and
kind of
come up to me and speak and act like it's no kind of, issue or whatsoever. And I know one time at I was like, Patrick, why are you speaking to me? He was like,
you don't even like me. I have people that sometimes. I'm guilty of that. I'll be like, you don't like me. You don't have to speak to me.
And we are okay. So, and we do that all the time. Oh, but I love you. We'll tell you something. We'll be then gutted your heart out. And then say, oh, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
but you know what that is, though? I think that's part of our, even like when I say, but he preached, and you say, but I think that's part of our little Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
We've been fucked up.
We
he
love
just
the
abuse. A pack of this
we
and a side of that.
Abuse. That's why you got all these queens sitting up shouting in these churches.
Yeah.
And and the first thing that they say, they get that whipping over the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't go anywhere else, and nowhere else feels comfortable.
And doing
nowhere else feels it don't even feel like church. It don't even. And they gonna stay there, and they gonna take that whipping every week. I remember, it's just amazing that he's not alive now. but Pastor Simmons probably would have gone viral every week.
Definitely.
Because
in this day and time,
some of the stuff that would come across and come out of Pastor Simmons' mouth, out of the over the pulpit, it would just be incredible. We would just be in shock. We would be in shock. I'm telling you, we would be. And what he couldn't say about a sissy, baby. Ooh, I would say.
But you know what? That's the church.
Yeah. But that is, and
that's the church.
And I love it, and I know I have.
But them sissies,
I do.
Them sissies better be on that organ. Them sissies better be in that choir.
Thorn in their side. I'll be that thorn in their side. I'll be the one that is on. You know, that somebody gotta hold it up. Somebody's got to.
Well, you keep holding it.
Somebody's got to force them to change and to elevate their mind and do.
When you do that, when they change, give me a call.
See, everybody can't lead. Everybody can't go to an inclusive place. Somebody's got to stay on the battlefield,
on the home front.
You see what I'm saying?
You got to keep the home front while you're on the battlefield.
You know, the whole time. So I take, but I really, Robert, I really appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate that perspective and that insight of how there is a lot of times more to it than just what's on the surface.
Yeah.
You know, that's very, because, you know, the flip side could be, well, I'm sure that they knew, but it could have been some other circumstances that contributed to the
they're real jealous, and they jealous and jealous hearted. They could be, and I guess that's anyone. But when you're this particular small group of people, and that guy got a lot of notoriety.
Absolutely.
People want that.
And in Kenya, come on.
Yeah.
You know, and then to have the courage to be bold enough to be his true self, and, I mean, where you have a country where the president is speaking out, not just somebody crazy like Earl Carter, but the president, is, who's that? Do y'all remember that guy? I think his name is Daryl. He's from New York, and you remember when he was a young boy, they were going to set him on fire. Daryl. He's an activist from New York. I took a picture with him at the gentleman's ball one year. He's an activist guy.
No, I don't know if I know him.
And oh my gosh, they honored him. Have y'all heard of Juan and G? You've heard of them?
No.
Warren and G.
They are a gay couple, and they have a restaurant here in Atlanta, but they used to do the Gentlemen's Awards, and one year they honored Jussie Smollett, and they honored this guy, and his name was Daryl something, and he's an activist.
Is that him?
Who? Now that's Juan and G.
Okay.
That's Juan and G. Okay. But one of their honorees was this guy named Daryl, and he told it during his acceptance speech. He told this story about growing up in New York and how some guys they had jumped him and they were going to set him on fire. And some woman came along and you know, rescued him and saved him. And he does this activist work, and I mean his whole story was so, I'm going through my pictures. His whole story was just so incredible.
I was trying to see if I could find
written a book and
his
stuff.
Name is Daryl, or is it another name?
I thought it was Daryl.
Is it Darnell?
Is he dark skinned with a long beard, sort of like Robert?
Right here.
That's him.
It's It's a Darnell Moore.
Darnell Moore.
His IG is more Danielle.
His story is really incredible. His story is really, and I think that he has written some books. But the thing about it is just that, you know, he and over here in America has, you know, we could, had they struck that match when they doused him with that that lighter fluid, we wouldn't have known who he was. You know what I mean? We would not have, and his level of contribution, you know, we would have never known it. We would have never experienced it. And I don't know how we get past that point. I don't know.
You know, like he said, I mean, at this point, you need to pray for protection on a daily basis. Right? Robert? I'm serious. Right. I mean, I'm with you on that.
I'm serious. You know, and I mean, and see, I'm going to tell you something. You said that in a way that was almost frightening. You know what I'm saying? Because that's we get so, you know, yeah. See, I wanted to show you. That's a better picture.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That night. That man's story is absolutely. Oh, I really look nice that night.
There you go. It's about Darnell.
I was giving Michael that night. Wait a minute. I was. Oh, look at me and I didn't even know she knew who I was. Look at me in TS.
Oh, TS.
That's Timothy, baby.
No, that call her Timothy.
Well, I know she would cuss me from Amazing Grace to a full opportunity. But that was Juana G. They got to bring that event back. But yeah, his story was just like absolutely incredible. It was, I mean,
and he made it,
you know, what he endured, and he's, you know, he's an activist, and he's still up there in you know, in New York, and, you know, still, you know, working and fighting. And I don't know, I don't know what will, maybe, I guess it's just even this little kind of a piece, you know, just a little dialogue. And, you know, it hopefully is some boy somewhere, some teen that'll see and, you know, or a parent. Right. That's why you remember we said, Chris, that one piece or that one element in The Best Man that was so important.
Yeah. The parent having to have a change of mind.
How did you feel about it, Robert?
Which now?
You remember did you watch Best Man?
No, I don't think I saw that.
episodes, the newest thing.
Chapters.
Okay. You should watch it. You watch it, Robert.
Okay.
It's on Peacock.
Get Peacock and watch The Best Man.
Right,
so we can get your thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Now, you're a black ball-headed man. How did you not watch The Best Man over Christmas?
I missed out.
He was busy.
But you know the movie we're talking about, right?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I just haven't watched it.
Because you remember, I think the first one was like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they did a sequel that was like The Best Man
Holiday.
Yeah. Whatever. But there's an element in it, and you need to see it. You need to watch it and see it, and be able to come back and give your perspective and your insight. Because I really would like to hear, once you see that particular piece, I really would like to hear.
Sir William is starring in it.
Yeah. He said what?
He said you're starring in it.
I said, you're starring in it.
Oh, listen. Now you say you're a thespian, huh?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I do.
Oh wow.
That's one.
Where are you at?
I'm currently in Philadelphia.
Oh, Philly. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection.
Y'all mess in Philly.
Oh, I know it. You know, I got some more tea about Philly.
Yeah, you should have some updates.
Yeah, I got what you call on what's his name, Jamaica, and then who else is up there? It's somebody else that I just got. Oh, I know. It was what's the bald-headed, light-skinned guy? It's some tea coming out of his place. Well, anyway, y'all.
All right,
gentlemen, it's been real.
Yes,
it's 1 o'clock.
It's been nice.
The hour is far spent.
Thank you.
All right, Robert.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Before everybody goes, I want you to add me on YouTube, the St. James Show, and here.
Absolutely.
All right.
And the ways to contribute and support me is down there.
Right there.
And definitely want you on there. But also, pick up my boy with the St. James Show.
All right.
And,